You know that one friend that complains that their life sucks because their boyfriend broke up with them over a week ago? Yeah. And everybody has their own problems. And some are worse than others. But what really gets up my nerves is when, well, let's say that you have a friend, okay? And you have your own problems. You know, maybe your parents are getting divorced, or maybe you're failing every single one of your classes. And you try to sit there and, you know, friends are supposed to support each other. So you sit down next to your friend and maybe you're driving somewhere, or maybe, you know, you're just hanging out in your bed and you turn to your friend and you're trying to tell them what's going on in your life. You're like, yeah, this thing's going on. I'm not doing well in my classes. You know, my parents aren't getting along very well, whatever. And all they can seem to talk about is, well, me and Brody the other day. And you're like, oh my God. And what are you supposed to do? You're supposed to be like, no, your problems are obviously less important than mine. So, I mean, you can't. You just sit there and you listen to their story about how Brody texted this other girl with a winky emoji at the end, and it made you really angry, and it made her really angry because she was the only one who was getting winky emojis, and now this other girl's getting winky emojis, and blah, 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 blah. The point is that this generation seems to have a serious problem with just focusing on themselves and not paying attention to others around them, especially their friends. And I don't think it's just me, because I've heard from a bunch of other people that they'll be trying to talk about their problems with one of their friends, not necessarily their boyfriend or whoever. They just want, an emotional outlet, which is a lot of times your friends are there to support you, and they can't get that because their friends are too engrossed in themselves. And I know what you're thinking. You're like, Josie, why don't they just, not be friends with these people in the first place? Well, I'll tell you why. There's so many other contributes to people other than just their listening skills. Someone may have a poor listening skills, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you should automatically defriend them from your life. Does it suck that they're not listening to you or listening to your problems? Yeah, but there's nothing really that you can do about it. People are just going to be full of themselves. People are just going to be conceited and only care about their own petty problems about my boyfriend and not want to hear about the fact that your house just burnt down a week ago. And, that doesn't mean that they're a bad person. It just means that they're conceited. The point of this rant is that kids, especially teenagers, maybe just teenagers, are becoming increasingly more conceited and concerned about themselves. And I feel that this has to do with social media, because on your social media, it's your status, your profile picture, your FaceTime, I don't know, your Instagram, it's all about you, and people are commenting on your stuff, and people are, contacting you, and it's all about you all the time. And it's all of a sudden, when this phone world is gone, it's not all about you anymore. You need to listen to what other people have to say. You actually need to communicate verbally with people, and maybe that's why we're having so much trouble communicating verbally with other people, is because we're so used to having this computer in our face and just having it being about us all the time. And maybe that's what makes it so addicting. Everybody just likes to be in their own little bubble of just me. Like it's just me, and being in this little bubble that is the computer screen, it is all about you. That's all that matters, is you, the videos that you want to watch, the games that you want to play, your avatar in The Sims. And I love The Sims. So the poor listening skills just completely go back to this idea of social media. And I could go on for a long time about the social media and the different implications that it has on our generation. An example may be that I was with my friend during the summer and we were out camping, and she has this little cousin, and her little cousin's like 3, and she's sitting there and she has this game on her iPod, and it was one of these like iPods, or this is an iPhone, but still. And I looked down and her cousin was doing this. Okay, this girl's 3, and the finger dexterity that she had, it was creepy. Like, it was just weird to watch. Just watch this 3-year-old being able to do this, pressing these different buttons for these different games. And I was like, where are we going? Where are we going, like, mentally? It's just staggering, the thought about where technology is taking us. And this rant is not exactly a rant, but more my views on where this generation is going. And it's really serious. There's probably nothing really funny in here, except for maybe if I just like whispered into the ear, like, horse nipple. No? Okay. It's more like a rant on where I feel that this generation is going than anything else. And it started out, with people trying to listen to you, and they're just not getting it. More and more kids are depressed, just out of the people that I talk to, and I feel that that's because they have no one to go to. I mean, even their parents at this point are just constantly on their phones or doing something else or at work, and so they have no one to talk to. And that's why I feel like it's all of our part to kind of put the phone down, close the laptop computers, turn off the TV, and just sit and listen to someone. And maybe they'll be nice, and they'll return the favor and actually generally listen to what you're saying, rather than catch a few words along the lines of Brody did and I would and then break up and yeah.